Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rika. I come from University of Strathclyde, Glasgow, majoring naval architect, ocean and marine engineering. Today I will share a small part of my research entitled Climate Mode Impacts on Deep Sea Upwelling, a multi-year assessment of ENSO and IOD effects on nutrients and chlorophyll distribution. Well, we start from the background. As we know, climate modes. Well, climate modes is a natural pattern that occurs between atmosphere and also the ocean from months to the years. But it causes big changes in like sea surface temperature, wind speed, and also the currents. And the climate mode have several indicators. Usually these climate modes occur in the global, in the big basin such as Atlantic, Indian, and also Pacific. And also it can be identified by the sea surface temperature anomalies. And it has a big link with the wind system, pressure, pattern, and also the thermocline depth, and also the air and sea interaction. And and in here, the climate mode that I would like to choose is about ENSO and IOD. ENSO is a sea surface temperature anomaly that occur in the Pacific Ocean. In actually same, but IOD is occur in the Indian Ocean. So when the Pacific Ocean, the ENSO it will be distinguished into El Nino and also La Nina. So they have in the west and the east. So we can compare the temperature, the surface temperature between west and east. And if in the east is warmer, they will categorize as El Nino, while in the east is older, it's called La Nina. Same, but in Indian Ocean, when in the east is warmer, is IOD negative, while in the colder, in the west side, it's called IOD positive. And this is the climate mode. So when the ENSO occur, we can identify by the index of ONI or Ocean Nino Index. When this is a El Nino, this is a La Nina, while the IOD we can use from the dipole mode index. In here we can select several specific times that occur only ENSO, IOD, and also both. And the aim to be achieved in this research is I would like to see the effect of chlorophyll and also the nutrient to the deep sea upwelling, because the common research is mostly the upwelling is occurred in the coastal, and now we would like to check is this the upwelling is occurred in the deep sea. This is the research area. The research area is distributed strategically the whole, like in the latitude we have in equator, and also in northern hemisphere in -20, 30, and 40, while in the short term we have in -30, -40, and -60. And for the longitude, we selected in the Pacific, Atlantic, and also the Indian Ocean. The methodology, first we collected the data sourced from the satellite and also the Argo. It for 18 years data, and we did the statistical analysis, and in here we can check with the climate mode, with the time series climate mode, and then after that we can identify the trend identification. This is the data that we use. From satellite data. It covering the surface data, including like chlorophyll, sea surface temperature, salinity, wind speed, and sea surface heat or sea level. And while for the vertical data, we got from Argo data, including nutrients such as nitrate, phosphate, silicate, and also temperature and salinity. We go to the first result. The first is the effect of El Nino to the chlorophyll and nutrients. Well, the upwelling is usually we identified by the higher of the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll A is a green pigment that's a green pigment from alga, phytoplankton, or plant that absorb the photosynthesis to do that absorb the sunlight to do the photosynthesis. So from the 18 years data, for example, this is I collect in one coordinate 0.-150 in the middle of Pacific. From 1 year, we can see there is a trend of higher chlorophyll. So there is an upwelling that occur in July, August, September. And the red cross is a El Nino event. And we can see here that when the El Nino event, the chlorophyll is tend to lower than the median value of 18 years data. Why can it happen? The first, when the El Nino occurred, the trade winds become weaker. So it become weaker. This is we can compare with the median value data with the El Nino in 2009, and become because the wind is weaker, sea surface heat or the sea level is not divergent enough, so they still high, and also the SST still warmer, and we check with the nutrient in the vertical data, the nutrient also become lower. So when they have a positive correlation between the nutrients and also the chlorophyll, when the nutrients is smaller, so it also generates the lower chlorophyll. This for the La Nina in the Pacific Ocean. In here we can see that the upwelling occurs still on July, August, September. But on the La Nina, the chlorophyll, the blue one is the La Nina event. In here we can see that when the La Nina event, the chlorophyll concentrate is higher than the median value of 18 years data. Why can it happen? Because we can see here the trade winds become stronger, and it generates the divergence area. We can see here the sea surface heat become lower, and they will pull the deeper water that identified by the colder sea surface temperature and also higher density, higher salinity, which bring the higher nitrates. So we can see here when the June is upwelling, and the December is, we can see here when the La Nina, the chlorophyll is high, also the nitrate also high. So it have a very strong correlation. Now we can see for the iodine positive effect to the chlorophyll, we take in the Indian Ocean. In here, the iodine positive, it's occur when we check here. Actually, the upwelling is occur on October, November, December, but the iodine positive occur on January to July. So, but we can see here that the chlorophyll is tend to be higher. Why? Because the nutrient also become higher and also become higher. So there's have a very positive correlation between the nutrients and also the chlorophyll. This is for the iodine negative in the Indian Ocean. This is the deep sea upwelling occur, and the green one is the iodine positive negative occur. We can see here that the chlorophyll is higher because the nutrient also higher, and because the wind is become stronger. So they have a correlation between the initiate, the wind, and also will bring the deeper water, and also will bring the higher nutrients, and also it will let the higher chlorophyll. Now how it occur both. Like in this case, I take for the El Nino and the iodine positive in the same time. We can see here above is on the Indian Ocean, 0.90, while in the below is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We can see here El Nino and IOD positive. When the event, the chlorophyll is become lower, and also the nutrient also become lower. And in here we can see that when the El Nino it become lower, but the IOD usually become higher. But in here we can see which one is more dominant. So in this case, the dominant is more the El Nino than the IOD positive. So, and this is also the event of the La Nina and IOD negative to the chlorophyll and nutrient concentration in Indian Ocean. They have higher tendency, and also in the Pacific they have a higher tendency, because yeah, we have see that when the nutrient is higher, also the chlorophyll is higher. And the conclusion, the ENSO and IOD impact on the deep sea upwelling. The first, we can see that the El Nino is almost similar with the IOD negative, just different location. Once El Nino in the Pacific Ocean, why IOD in the Indian Ocean? Why? Because it initiated by weaker trade winds, and this make the difference of the thermocline, so make the nutrients hard to go upward, and it will let the decreased chlorophyll. While the La Nina, similar with the IOD positive, when the stronger trade wind occur, they will create a divergent area and will bring the thermocline solving, and nutrient will enhance to upward, and it will generate the higher chlorophyll. While for the both, it's depend on the which one magnitude is stronger or dominant. So we can see if there is will have the same dominant, they will become a natural condition. And for the last, why the effect of ENSO and IOD is important or crucial for deep sea upwelling? Because it regulates the nutrient supply. Not only that, it's also influence the heat, global heat, and also the carbon absorption. So this is the end of my presentation, and thank you for your attention, and thank you.